80s keyboards are fun. They are great for a few hours of jamming around in your music studio, and you can still pick them up for a couple of bucks, so it's almost always worth it. But unless you start to circuit bend them, the small set of sounds you get quite quickly wears off, and with the limitations of the technology and user interface, they are not inspiring enough to keep them in your music setup in the long term. And once you've heard one of them, you've heard them all. Hello, my name is Jochen and I'm a keyboard addict. You've seen quite a few keyboards on my channel already, and there's even more that I haven't yet featured on my channel. Yet, while I like all of my keyboards, with most of them I really just had a few hours of fun. But there's two 80s keyboards that have gained a permanent place in my synthesizer rack. One is the Casio Tone 701, which is really an instrument from the analog era and really isn't your typical 80s keyboard. The other one might not be so surprising to you anymore, since you've already read the video title. It's the Yamaha PS-25. There is not much to say about the Yamaha PS-25. Not because there wouldn't be anything to say about it, but rather because I found so little information about it. It came out in 1983, 3 years after Yamaha's first Portasound portable keyboard, together with its big brothers the PS-35 and 55. But even though being as standard and unrecognizable as a keyboard can appear, this series still has something special to it in my opinion. So let's jump into what makes it better than most other 80s keyboards. I have to give kudos to Yamaha's engineers, because the first thing that makes the PS-25 outstanding is how, with a few additional switches and faders, they managed to get the most out of their very limited set of functions. A good example for that is the Arpeggiator. On pretty much any 80s keyboard, an arpeggiator arpeggiates happily alongside the accompaniment. Usually you can turn it on or off, but on the PS-25 you have 3 separate volume faders for accompaniment, rhythm and arpeggio. This means that you can use the arpeggio as a standalone melody generator, and as such it is an amazing tool that most other keyboards don't offer. Other than that single volume fader, there is no direct controls for the arpeggiator and you can't tweak the sound. But you get some different arpeggio patterns with the rhythm selector and you can change the tempo. However, there is no way to sync it to anything else. But even with these limitations, I found it a very nice tool in music production. Any keyboard rhythm machine is an awesome way to travel back to the sound of the 80s. And with its typical PCM drum sounds, the PS-25 is no exception. But when I compared it to some other mid-80s keyboards, I found the PS-25's rhythms to have a more punchy sound and its beats to be a bit more catchy than on other keyboards. And once again, it has its special tweaks not to be found in other keyboards. While any rhythm machine comes with a fill variation, you can select it yourself and have any of the 5 variations play to any of the rhythms. And among these variations there is a drum roll. This quite easily is the most useful variation and makes this rhythm machine one of the most useful ones to be found in any 80s keyboard, if you ignore the Casio's actual drum machines that can be found in the HT series. Even after looking at the PS-25's schematics, the sound generation remains a mystery to me. The chip that appears to be responsible for the sound generation is unknown to the internet. It could be some kind of early FM chip, but if you know more about it, let me know in the comments. But what is way more important anyway is that it sounds awesome. You have the typical range of presets that don't sound at all like the name indicates, and then you have the piano. When I heard it first, I was really impressed by how realistic it sounds for such an early keyboard. Just listen to this Casio CT810 from 2 years later. To me, the PS-25 has a way nicer sound. It adds a bit of lo-finess to a real piano sound, and once you add some reverb, it is more than usable in any music production. While the keypad itself has no touch sensitivity, the full-size keys still feel fairly nice. And with its 5 different settings for sustain, you even get a fair amount of adjustability for such a keyboard. All in all, it's a very nice sound that I really don't want to miss in my studio. Keyboards are perfect for people like me, who are aspiring pianists without ever having had an actual piano lesson. The PS-25 takes automation to the limit. Combining all the features, you can actually play a full song with only hitting one key over again. You record a chord pattern using the memory function. Then you activate the duet function, which adds a second voice to the melody you play that runs with the chords. The rest is fiddling around with the different volume faders, adding the casual drum roll, and you can play a full song with playing just the same key over and over again. Quite a feature for a keyboard that came out just 3 years after keyboards became a thing. The PS-25's chorus would be great, if it had one. Unfortunately, you can only find the multiple mode chorus on the bigger PS-35 and 55, but it is as lovely as an 80s chorus can get. How do I know? Well, I have a Yamaha PS-35 as well, but it got heavily destroyed during shipping. Aside of the chorus switch, all controls are irresponsive, so the only thing I could do was listening to the sound it was stuck on and play with the chorus. And I loved it. Now the PS-35 has been put to rest as a display sample in a diorama. But if I ever find another one, it will immediately replace the PS-25, because I love that chorus, if I haven't said that often enough so far. So I hope I could show you a few reasons why I like this keyboard in particular. But the message of this video is not that every one of you should go out and find exactly this Yamaha PS-25. The message is rather that even among the little-known keyboards of the 80s, there's many hidden gems that might fit perfectly to what you want to do with a keyboard. Maybe you have found a hidden gem nobody talks about and you find this is the keyboard with the perfect sound. Let me know in the comments, I'm really interested about it. I leave you with this little jam I had a year ago with the Yamaha PS-25 and the Casio Tone 701 back when I was still in my old studio. As you can see, I'm in a new place now and I really like it here, and I'm really excited to make more videos in the future. I really hope to see you soon in another video here on my channel. So until then, make sure you like, you leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more synths and sounds. will move on. Time will come, and I hope you come along. Time will come, and will move on. Time will come, and